Hare Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Bhagavad Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Antakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevach Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. This is Lasmi Devidasi from Atlanta. Welcoming you all to this mid-morning Japa conference call. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Today, we will be having a class by His Grace Ramgiridhari Prabhu. But before we go ahead with the class, may I know who all have joined class today? Anyone would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasni Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karna Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Karuna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining us and giving us your very valuable association today. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Dandrat Pram, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining us and giving us your very valuable association today.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. This is Aditi Devi Dasa in Canada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Aditi Mataji. Welcome to the conference call. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your very valuable association today. Welcome to the conference call.
Hare Krishna, Aditi Preeti Vilasini Mataji. Dandvat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So much for joining us and giving us your very valuable association.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dhanvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Kirti Dasandri Dasi.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank
you so much, Kirti Dasandri. Is there anyone else who would like to? Is there anyone else who would like to introduce themselves? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru Maharaj. I'm Shreyadita.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Shreyadita Mataji. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your very valuable association today. Welcome to the conference call, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Priti Vilasini
Krishna
Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and to all the assembled devotees. This is Megha from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Megha Mataji, for joining us and giving us your very valuable association today. Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Hare Krishna. I welcome everyone to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I'll read the Prabhupada quote for today and then I'll hand over the call to our speaker. 27 December. The business of a leader. He must be himself always enthusiastic and inspire others to always be enthusiastic. Then he's a real leader. Letter to Dasa, December 27, 1972. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Today, our esteemed speaker is His Grace Ramgiridhari Prabhu. Prabhuji, you can now take over the call. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna. Dhanavad pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. First of all, for all of you who are expecting some other speaker, is of course Amarendra Prabhu is very famous and very elevated speaker. So for some reason he is not joining in today. That's what I got to realize. So sorry for the disappointment. I have no hand in that, but at least
Prabhuji, we are definitely not disappointed. We are very honored. Please take over.
No, Hare Krishna. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. So we are reading from Chaitanya Bhagavata chapter 15, text number 40 through 50. This is a chapter where the Lord is going to marry Sri Vishnupriya Devi. So the context that we are in right now is the exact same context where Mother Sachi is expressing or starting to feel that Nimai Pandita should get married again. So we will go through the verses and then we can chant the context. Se Navadvipe Vaise Mahabhagyavan Dayashila Swabhava Shri Sanatana Namam. In Navadvipa, there resided one most fortunate and compassionate devotee named Sri Sanatana Mishra. Akaitava Udara Parama Vishnu Bhakta Atiti Sevana Para Upakare Rata Satyavadi Jitendriya Mahavamsa Jata Padavi Raja Pandita Sarvatra Vikyata Vyavahare Vo Parama Sampanna Eka Janam Anayase Anekere Karena Poshanam. He was simple-hearted, magnanimous, expert in entertaining guests, and always engaged in welfare activities. Moreover, he was truthful, he controlled his senses, he had a good birth, and he was famous as the Raja Pandita. Sanatana Mishra hailed from a well-to-do family, so he easily maintained many other people. Tandra Kanya Achena Parama Sucharitam Murtimati Lakshmi Praya Sehi Jaganmatam. Sanatana Mishra's daughter had all auspicious characteristics. She was like the personification of Lakshmi, the mother of the universe. Sachi Devi Tanre Deki Lena Yehi Kshanem Ekanya Putra Yogya Bhujhilena Manem. As soon as Mother Sachi saw her, she immediately thought that she was a suitable bride for her son. Shishu Haite Duitina Bhara Ganga Snanam Pitrumatru Vishnu Bhakti Vinena Hyanam. From her childhood, that girl took bath in the Ganges 2 or 3 times a day. She had no engagement other than serving her father, mother, and Lord Vishnu. Aire Dekiya Gate Pratidhine Dine Namrahai Namaskara Karena Charanem. She regularly met and offered her humble obeisances to Mother Sachi at the Ganges bathing ghat. Ayo Karena Mahaprite Ashirvadam Yogyapati Krishna Tomara Karuna Prasada. Mother Sachi happily blessed her. May Krishna bless you with a suitable husband. Ganga Snane Ai Mane Karena Kamana Yekanya Amara Putre Hauka Ghatanam. Then as Mother Sachi took her bath, she thought, may this girl be married with my son. Raja Panditera Itcha Sarva Goshti Sanem Prabhure Karite Kanya Dhana Nijamanem. Sanatana Mishra and his relatives also desired that she be married to the Lord. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So Mother Sachi is already getting concerned and worried to get Nimai Pandita married again. After Lakshmi Priya left her body feeling in separation from Nimai Pandit, even Nimai Pandit cried, wept so much knowing about Lakshmi Priya's departure. After that, he was focusing on his teaching and conducting his Gurukula sessions. And we heard up till Shloka number 40 about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, Nimai Pandita's daily routine and how he was a very interesting, serious, strict teacher. Vrindavan Das Thakura explains that anyone who studied in Mahaprabhu's Gurukula under Nimai Pandita, within 1 year, he becomes a very expert scholar. Even though Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandita may be strict, but then for sure his teaching as well as his blessings over his students were definitely special. That as we always pray, Mukam karoti vachalam, Pangum langayate girim, Yat kripata mahammante Shri Gurum dinatarinam. If somebody has got the blessings of Gurudev, Pangum langayate girim, they will be able to easily climb a mountain even if the person is lame. So similarly, anyone who studied under Nimai Pandita, they were not ordinary students. So the situation is, Mother Sachi is very much interested in seeing a girl for Nimai Pandita. Before we even get into the reflections, I want to, share that how the Vedic civilization is so rich and so special that for protecting dharma, establishing God-centric life, everyone contributed. Srila Prabhupada started this Krishna consciousness movement to demonstrate, to show all of us what it means to be a God-centric life. In fact, Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself appeared to help us leading a God-centric life. I used to always say this, that Krishna consciousness should not be part of our life. I repeat, Krishna consciousness should not just be part of our life. Let me define it. It should be our way of life. If for someone whose life is Krishna conscious, for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, it is good. But if someone is leading their life fully Krishna conscious, then it is all the more good and very important. So when Srila Prabhupada established this Krishna consciousness movement, he wanted to set this up as a very good template, a very good organization, very good role model society where the members can demonstrate, can establish, can set a example for the society at large, so that everyone can learn what is Krishna-centric, God-centric life means. And whenever we talk about God-centric life, Krishna-centric life, all walks of life, all aspects of life, talking, walking, eating, marrying, working, earning, house, shelter, food, dress, address, everything should be definitely filled with Krishna consciousness. So, this particular set of shlokas that we are reading, we can learn a lot of things. So when I was trying to prepare and reflecting about these 10 verses, 10, 11 verses, Vrindavan Das Thakura could have very easily narrated the story in a different manner. He could have said that Mother Sachi wanted Nimai Pandita to get married. So Sanatana Mishra had a daughter, Vishnu Priya, and that marriage got over by whatever arrangements. He could have finished the entire narration of the story in, say, 10, 12, 15 verses. But he is going on describing about several details about the individual personalities involved in the process. This is not just a filler or decorative items, as people may think, that just for the narration of story, that author is filling in some description about the character. Maybe in a typical modern materialistic novel, that could be true. But the real purpose of any storytelling by our acharyas is, along with the stories, they would like to embed several pearls of wisdom through which we all can learn lessons. So the 10, 11 shlokas that we read today, if it is a storytelling session, it is Mother Sachi desired. She knew about Sanatana Mishra. She desired her daughter, and the daughter was very nice, and chapter closed. But the characteristics of a person, when they are elaborately explained with so much of details, all the good qualities of Sanatana Mishra, when they are explained, it has to be understood that the purpose of Vedic literature is to deliver, to present us with character that we need to inculcate. Because character building is what our Krishna consciousness process is all about. From Naradama to Narottama, all that we do is removal of some unwanted things and revival of our hidden, lost, forgotten characteristics. Attitude of the follower is what every Vaishnava Acharya is giving importance about. So in our discussion today, we are going to have 3 sets of reflections from 3 different perspectives to the current context. The first reflection is about the characteristics of a Brahmana, characteristics of a civilized, cultured person in comparison with current state of affairs, current state of consciousness. So the shloka 41 and 43, 41 through 43, Vrindavan Das Thakura is describing about several characters of Sanatana Mishra. Simple-hearted, magnanimous, expert in entertaining guests, always engaged in welfare activities, truthful, one who has controlled senses. He had a good birth. So the reason why these were all discussed is the parentage, because he is mentioning Sanatana Mishra had a good birth to say that Vishnupriya Devi is equally blessed to be born, or the Lord has arranged Vishnupriya to appear in such a family so that the Brahmanical qualities are glorified and nurtured. Whenever the Lord wants to perform his pastimes, the Lord pre-plan several things and accordingly arrange the servants to appear in different locations. In Tirupati Balaji pastime, if you all know that, for the Lord to marry, he had already pre-planned. So there was a Leela precursor to Tirupati Balaji pastime, where Lakshmi Devi, she is appearing, she is coming down along with Bhudevi and Neela Devi. All 3 of them are appearing and they are located in different places. So one Raja who is, ruling that place, he is blessed with a girl child, and the entire Leela, the Lord is pre-planning, and eventually, he is marrying Lakshmi and he's having a union with the remaining two. We are not going there. But the point I want to drive home is that the Lord pre-arranges things. So similarly for Vishnu Priya to be married with Nimai Pandita, here the description says that how she is appearing in such a family whose parentage is very nice. In fact, it is very important that our parentage or the family lineage is checked, especially in making matches. Not only making matches, it's very important factor to consider about several, giving services, assigning, some responsibilities. So it is very important. In fact, when King Vena was chosen as a king, the criteria of King Vena was chosen even though he was notorious in his character was that he comes in the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj. So, but eventually those Brahmanas had to, install Prithu Maharaj as the king from King Vena. So the parentage or the family where a person belongs to becomes a very important factor. So my first reflection is about the qualities or the characteristics of a Brahmana or a person who is part of a Varnashrama, a community, a Varnashrama society. This becomes a very important factor. Unfortunately, the current society doesn't subscribe to such an ideology. These qualities that were listed over here, it helps the individual, it helps the family, it helps the community, and together all of them contributes towards devotional environment. So when we describe about Brahmanical qualities, when we discuss about higher virtues, it is not just to do with one's own life. It is to do with all the lives are dependent on that person, and all those lives that person is going to influence. So that is why in Vedic system, a community is always Krishna centered, but driven by a Brahmana who could give them directions and advices to be God-centric civilization. All these qualities that are listed over here about Sanatana Mishra, all of them are considered old school with respect to our current modern society. Unfortunately, some of the devotees also feel, sometimes devotees also carry that some of the old school thoughts cannot be applied in the current context. So we'll have to be a modern devotee. We need not be simple all the time. We need not be magnanimous all the time. We have to be diplomatic. We cannot support and serve everyone all the time. We have to be choosy. So this modern education system, because of killing 4 important characteristics, it destroys the entire Brahmanical virtues. Just by 4 characteristics being eliminated, I'm sure many other characteristics are eliminated, but 4 major characteristics are eliminated by the modern education system. And this is done in a very organic, in a subtle, and a very consistent manner. Number one, patience. Number two is forgiving. Number three is respect. Number four is compassion. These four qualities, I'm sure 40 more can be added, but when I was reflecting, these were the four primary qualities that are slowly getting eliminated or becoming very biased, and eventually the society loses all the Brahminical qualities. A Brahmana need to have patience. A Brahmana need to be forgiving. A Brahmana need to demonstrate, show respect. And a Brahmana need to be compassionate. A Brahmana need to be clean. A Brahmana need to be charitable. A Brahmana need to be learned. I'm not eliminating those things, I'm sure. But I wanted to drive home to understand how in our own daily context, even as practicing devotees, these four qualities, we are going on losing points almost every day. When I was analyzing myself, that why, my Krishna consciousness journey is taking time, what is that I need to work on? Definitely in terms of sadhana, chanting, reading, those Panchanga Bhakti need to be practiced. But if I want to keep monitoring about certain qualities, if they are properly getting nurtured or not, if I'm working on those or not, I really realized, and my little study around and within the limited experience that I have, people have no patience. When I say people, I would even very boldly say devotees are becoming less patient. Devotees are becoming less or not forgiving. Devotees are becoming less respectful. And what to speak of compassion, we are always choosy. I will be compassionate to one person too much, and on the other side, I will not be. How many families, devotee families, where we get to see within the family members, even though the other members of the family are not devotees, we show these four characteristics. We may be sometimes very good with all devotees, but these four characteristics we cannot show it with devotees. But nowhere in the scripture it is mentioned that we have to be patient, tolerant, humble, forgiving, respectful only to devotees. That is never considered as a Vaishnava virtue. Titikshava karunika suvrida sarvadehina ajata sadruva santa sadhava sadhu bhushana. A sadhu's characteristics is independent of the opposite side. You cannot go and say, Prabhu, actually, I am not at all envious towards any devotees. In fact, the whole world I am kind enough. Only two people I am envious of. Which means I am okay, no Prabhu. I am clean, no Prabhu. The problem is not the proportion, percentage of how many people you are envious, ego, proud of. Just by the reason it is there within us will delay our journey. So I want to, say that's the first reflection to see how this Vedic civilization, Varnashrama Dharma, God-centered civilization was so nice that just by the characters of the individual, not only the individual, not only the family, not only the community around, but the society at large were benefited. Because one person's good characteristics influences, helps all the other members. And this way, there is a collective benefit. And that is why Krishna consciousness movement is glorious, because we are trying to recreate that. Just one person changing in the family One person trying to adopt Krishna consciousness, one person inculcating these qualities. And these qualities, by the just virtue of one person having these qualities, we will be able to attract the Supreme Lord. Is another aspect that we need to note here. Just by having good virtuous qualities, the Lord is available to Vishnupriya and their family. So character development is an integral part of our Krishna conscious journey. So I want to end my first reflection to say that if we need to revive back, if we need to get into Krishna conscious way of living and not limit ourselves to Krishna consciousness as a part of life, we need to work on these 4 qualities. Patience, this is for our own personal practices. Forgiving, this is for accepting others. Respectful, this is for leaving an impact with everyone, that how much we are valuing them as Krishnas. And compassion, this is our service attitude. Putting together these 4, we will be able to revive ourselves, we will be able to revive the society, and we will be a wholesome along with the other Krishna consciousness practices, Chapa, Kirtan, Bhagavatam and everything. We will be able to lead a Krishna conscious way of life. Today I was talking to one family, and I can very boldly say this. In my last several years of service as caretaker of few families, we get to hear so many stories, and we get to hear so many justifications of those stories, and we get to hear how I am correct, how my situation is like this, and how my decision of not abiding by these virtues are correct, because how much I will give, how much I will go for. I have my own, thought process and priorities and stuff like that. But that's not how the Vedic civilization functioned. Vedic civilization functioned definitely of bonded love and care, and their focus was more than how much I am right. Their focus was how much we have to work towards pleasing the Lord by creating a very harmonious environment and society, for which several of my own portion needs to be given away. So if you have to debate between am I right in what I'm thinking, attachment towards my right versus attachment towards loving Krishna, Sri Prahlad Prabhu gave a very nice class on that. So attachment towards our being right has arrogance. Attachment towards being a devotee of the Lord, to love the Lord, has got so many wonderful characters and virtues involved. So my first reflection, I would like to end by saying the quality of a Brahmana, quality of a civilized person, quality of these great personalities are described, explained, not just to glorify them. This is to highlight the power of Vedic civilization and to also demonstrate what Srila Prabhupada intended when he started this Krishna consciousness movement, what all our acharyas wanted. The second reflection is about the important duty of a parent. Okay, there are several duties of a parent. One of the important duties is to get your children married to a right, suitable life partner, and what to look for. Prabhus and Matajis, again, this is some services that I get involved, and I'm sorry to say that the expectations and the criteria that even as we devotees set in matchmaking is sometimes scary. When you see this current context, what Sachi Mata was looking for and what characteristics Vishnu Priya Devi have, and what was the desire of the girl's father, and what all of them were considering is something very, very special and in tandem. All of them were thinking alike. And whilst this is a very important service, and this service has not one person's responsibility, this is again a responsibility of an entire community. Because I train my child very well, I am least bothered about my neighbor, I am least bothered about my friend, I am least bothered about the society, then whom my child is going to mingle with, talk to, marry to. So the reason people were working as a community before is because that's how we are going to, we are going to search bride or bridegroom within the same community or within the larger community. So if we all understand the underlying importance of Krishna conscious way of life, then we will realize it is not that my family is limited to me. My family will become our family, a larger family, and we need to help each other. So the concern of a parent, the responsibility of a parent should not only limit in giving the child, teaching the child devotional skills. It should also be involved in preparing the child, whether it is boy or a girl, throughout their life, how they are going to practice, apply Krishna consciousness in their next ashrama. So this means that we will train our own children in such a manner that when they have to get married, they take care of, they look up to the spiritual practices, spiritual culture, so much so that they will protect the other person coming in their life. That way, there will be harmony. Today, the statistics is so scary. I'm even hearing some devotees don't want to marry a devotee children. A devotee doesn't want to employ a devotee, as an employee. A devotee doesn't want to do business transaction with another devotee. A devotee doesn't want to trust another devotee. So what devotee are we? So what are we preparing? What are we cultivating? What are we praying? What are we practicing? What are we trying to promote? What is the basis of our life? If hatred, if pride, if ego, if enviousness, if these are all the qualities are filled in, relationships. The concern was very genuine. I'm sure every grahastha will have the concern. But the outcome of the concern, how I am reacting to the concern, is very important. There are certain things which I may not be able to talk in a public forum, but so many experiences in the service that I am rendering, where some devotee child, when the girl child is brought up and got married, they would have not taught certain aspects which are needed to be in a girl or a woman, and they claim this is modern girl. I've given them education. I've given them so and so, and they will defend when the girl child is going to have a problem in their marriage. So don't worry, beta. You come back. We will look after you. We will protect you. That's not how a Vedic civilization worked. Neither it worked in a manner saying that get lost and we are not bothered about you. The point I'm trying to say is, whether it is a girl child, what values to be taught, how they are supposed to be trained, and a boy, how he need to learn to respect the members of the family and the extended family, and how he need to treat one another. They are all taught. So as I am speaking, all our children in our own respective houses, you don't only treat them for your own child. They're going to be somebody else's son-in-law, daughter-in-law, somebody else's family. So we need to give them extended that love, that care, that background. So this is an important service. So hence, let us understand there is a very nice comparison that is given in the corporate world. I'll use this corporate world's example for a minute here. We are consumers 24 hours and we are employees 10 hours, 8 hours. The point we are saying this is, when I am working for 8 hours, if I remember I am consumer for 24 hours and what I produce may come back to me, I will produce without corruption, without adulteration, without malpractice, without notoriousness. If I forget I am going to be a consumer, then I will do anything that I want. Then what is the difference between a cultured and an uncultured person? The comparison here is consumerism means I am going to utilize the product that I produce. Instead of I use the word I use the word we. We are going to be the recipient of the product that we make. His Holiness Hanumat Prashek Maharaj used to always tell this. That Ramgiridhari, please make sure that whatever school or education system that, the services that you are doing, let us do it correctly. Who knows? In your next life, you may become student of your own school. So what will happen? So the point here is, when we are trying to understand that the child that I'm, training or bringing up should not only be limited to devotional skills in terms of knowing shlokas and Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhava and several other devotional philosophy, which is very nice. But very nicely, importantly, they need to know about the application of philosophy in difficult circumstances. Because the reality of life is not Anki-Dori. Reality of life is there is going to be a bumpy ride. At that time, how are they supposed to deal with the situation? In what scenario, how they are supposed to handle? So when Vishnupriya Devi was seen, what was the characteristics that Mother Sachi got attracted? That she is serving her parents, she is respectful, and she is constantly Vishnu Bhakti. She was constantly doing devotional service. That attracted her. Vishwanath Chakravarti, Vrindavan Das Thakura is going to describe Vishnupriya's characteristics much more later also. But then the highlight of the character that Sachi Mata liked is about the quality that Mother Sachi admired of Vishnupriya. So the concern of a parent, the concern of an adult in Krishna consciousness should not be limited to his or her own immediate family, but it needs to be an extended family, because we are going to be the consumers, we are going to be the relatives of our own devotee community members, not either immediate community members or far-fetched community members. If we are not going to be thinking broader and long-term, probably, we will have to scratch our own head and we will have to cut sorry figure at some point in time. So I would like to end my second reflection by saying that it's a concern, it's a duty, it's a responsibility of every parent to bring up their own children in a very protected and responsible manner. And it's an important service. And this is not a family duty. This is a community and this is a society service, because we have a duty towards a larger audience than our own individual audience. And Sanatana Mishra has done a fantastic service by bringing up Vishnupriya Devi as a very nice, cultured devotee. The third and last reflection is about the quality of a quality of Vishnu Priya Devi, or the quality of the bride that is spoken about. Srila Prabhupada constantly speaks about this. Rajar doshe rajya nashta, ginni doshe grihastha nashta. It is important, even though we are slowly becoming gender neutral society, we need to remember that the inherent nature of specific gender according to Vedic civilization demands certain services and activities to be looked after by that person. A Mataji needs to have, a woman needs to have a specific set of responsibilities. So do the men. We can superimpose modern ideologies and we can put everything under the carpet, saying that these are all material, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Varnashrama is material. These are all completely, bodily. We'll only simply focus on the higher dimensional Krishna consciousness aspect. Theoretically, yes, that's the right statement. But we have to go through, carry ourselves through this body with its associated, quotients. So, which means it is important for us to minutely, very focusedly focus on certain qualities to be inculcated in a boy and a girl. So, as a third reflection, I want to, just say that how Vishnu Bhakti and respectfulness of Vishnu Priya being highlighted here under routine of daily taking Ganges bath is highlighted because of them carrying a very important value in our devotional journey. If the girl, as Prabhupada says, if the leading lady of the house, if she is not devotional, if she is not going to drive God consciousness, if she is not going to bind the family values together by her love, care, and embracing the family together, it is going to be a very tough agenda in the family to present Krishna consciousness. We are hearing devotee divorces, we are hearing violence in the devotee marriage, we are losing faith in devotee matchmaking. All these things are because somehow or other we have failed to catch the right nerve, we have failed to attack or address the major concern, which is about the education and the childhood upbringing and the family environment. So I gave a entire series on Varnashrama Dharma. So we were discussing from 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and other places, and it was around 56-60 sessions we discussed, of which we spent almost good 20-25 sessions exclusively on the responsibilities of a Stree. This is not any controversial or any being biased here, but recently we had Her Grace Devaki Mataji visiting our community. She also gave a very nice seminar, and she has published a very wonderful book on spiritual culture and women. So the Vedic civilization is designed in such a way that by very nicely training and bringing up a girl child as a chaste, as a simple, as a devotional child, not only the child, but the family, also the extended family, also the entire community gets the benefit. This is almost, that is why in Varnashrama Dharma, when describing about Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, and there is a fifth, item that Yudhishthira Maharaj was given an instruction about Stree. So Narada Muni was speaking about Brahmana, Narada Muni was speaking about Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudras, and also the qualities and importance, important characteristics of women. So whether it is about Vishnu Priya Devi, Lakshmi Priya Devi, or even any of our children, which Srila Prabhupada calls as Vaikunta children, it is our duty to be a role model for bringing up a child to be a good quality, child with good qualities. For being a role model, we need to demonstrate, we need to show by our own individual example. So when we are taking responsibility to become a parent, it is our duty to work in such a manner that we can set an example. And the kind of importance that we need to give, it should be about Krishna conscious way of life, not Krishna consciousness as a part of life. Not just that being a part of life is something bad, but somehow or other, by Krishna consciousness being some portion of your life, hypocrisy kicks in, or we try to use Krishna consciousness for our as a social, spiritual entertainment agenda, whilst it's a serious business, whilst it's a serious agenda. So when Indra was trying to dilute or divert his attention from his daily routine and disrespected Brihaspati, the entire episode of Vritrasura started, because he thought that I have now got my free time, I should enjoy some, entertainment, some my private time, my me time. And he diluted his, focus from respecting Brihaspati, and eventually what ensued is a series of agendas by which he kept on making mistakes. Similarly, in our own Krishna consciousness practices, it is extremely important that we try to give importance to the very organized, consistent, and systematic way of upbringing, especially the younger days, the earlier days, the foundational days need to be very well, focused on, because what seed that you sow and how you role model to the child will very nicely grow. I will end this reflection with a very important reference that Srila Prabhupada is, setting up this Daiva Varna, desiring for this Daiva Varnashrama. And when he started this Krishna consciousness movement, so he insisted that how the boys and girls who came to that movement as girlfriends and boyfriends and unmarried boys and girls, Srila Prabhupada, as an important immediate agenda, wanted them to get married and be in a very stable relationship. So Srila Prabhupada insisted this because such a clean thought, such an important thought is needed for practicing a stable Krishna consciousness. Unfortunately, I am seeing there are several families who believe in single mother, several families believing in, whatever. I mean, whatever that's outside the context of Varnashrama Dharma. So it is important for us to protect for our own, not only for our own interest, but for a larger community interest. We need to protect the Dharma so that devotional service can be very nicely established and promoted. So Sanatana Mishra, he used to be called as Raja Pandita because of his good qualities, as well as that good qualities he could inculcate in his child. So we have several devotees who have worked hard to become a very nice devotees, but they have unfortunately couldn't do the same thing to their next generation. We may say that we tried hard, but we couldn't succeed. Probably there are some cases where the child may carry his or her own karma, but sometimes we don't even try really hard. We will just let them figure out their karma in their own way, in the name of giving them freedom, in the name of over pampering them, in the name of letting them choose their journey. And that is not how a Vedic civilization functioned, and that's not what Srila Prabhupada wanted. So I would like to end my third reflection by saying that the the qualities of the bride is given more importance in the context, because when she brings in all the Vedic and divine virtues, she'll be able to transform the society. So if they are given less importance and they are not taught with with right values, not only they get spoiled, their offspring gets spoiled, and eventually the whole family gets really disturbed. And we see that in our current society. So I would like to end this discussion over here by summarizing that we discussed 3 sets of reflections. One is about the qualities of the Brahmanas and how it is important not only for the self as well as for the extended family and community, which the Vedic civilization could inculcate in every Brahmana and every members of the society, because they gave importance to Brahmana. The Brahmana helped other members. But the modern civilization does not support them. And we see that how compassion is getting lost, how patience is getting lost, how people are not ready to forgive, and there is no quotient of respect. So with that deteriorating, we are only seeing a very disturbed society, or very self-centered, selfish society. The second reflection we discussed is about the concern of a parent and the responsibility associated with the parent. So it is a service not only for ourselves, it is also a service for the society at large. We are going to be consumers, we are going to be utilizing, we are going to be in relationship with some other people whom somebody else is going to train or bring up. So if we are all going to inculcate only self-centered, self-ideologist based upbringing, then we are going to have a very tough future. And last but not least, we discussed is about the quality of a bride, the quality of a girl child, where the family need to give importance. For sure, the quality of a boy is also equally important. And the idea of girl child having good qualities is because she has the power to transform the entire family, and that's there in the inherent nature is providing her that power. So the power can be, if they're rightly exercised, if they're rightly fired up. So for sure, even the person who is not Krishna conscious, who is against Krishna conscious, can be brought to Krishna consciousness. So I would like to stop here, and if there are any questions or comments or reflections, I'll be happy to respond. And once again, my sincere apologies for any mistakes or any expectation or shortfall. Any questions or comments or reflections, I'll be happy to respond. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this very beautiful class. Really like the way you explained that unless we develop these qualities, I mean, especially in these verses, how, because Vishnupriya Mataji's father had these very wonderful qualities. He was able to attract the grace of the Lord and give his daughter to the Lord. So the importance of developing qualities and internalizing these qualities, I think, is so important. So thank you so much for elaborating on that, Prabhu. Very grateful for this class, and sorry for the last minute notice. And thank you for being there for us. Megha Mataji, would you like to?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada, and Shiguru and Shigaranga. Prabhuji, as always, such a wonderful class. It was very instructive and very enlightening to understand how to raise the child in a proper way, whether it's a girl or a boy, and how the girl child, has more power to change the whole family. So I remember my mom always used to say these things, and I was, back then when I was, not fully in the Krishna conscious. It was always a Vaishnava family, so she would always say, duty of a wife and all this. And I was like, oh no, mom, you're talking Orthodox ways or something. Like, I was a feminist, but now looking back, it really helps me understand that because of those foundational values that she had imbibed in a girl child, and we're both sisters. So, it really helps us in this way now. But now my question is, I have two sons. So, and I'm trying to have the sons be in Krishna consciousness. And as you said, it's not just, doing the, it's good. Yeah. You have that as a part of your life, at least to begin with. But my children are not really fond of Krishna consciousness. And I don't want to force them, right? I don't want to make them feel like you have to do something, because I don't want them to be steering away from it. So I try to lead by examples, and not, I tell them this is right, this is wrong, and then still give them the choice. And they obviously don't choose Krishna consciousness when I give that choice. And it bothers me, but, and even though I don't say it, my expressions will somehow say things that I didn't like this and those things. So how to make sure that they're proper, because, it's taking time for the whole family to change. No doubt everyone has, changed gradually, but it's not to the level that we would have it normally be, right? And it's a Krishna consciousness family, as we can say. So how do we train the boy children in this manner? Because I'm really afraid of the world outside and in this, way. And I try to do homeschooling, but I don't have that option because I have to work. So it's very difficult. How do what is your advice in this kind of situation?
Okay, so it's a very big subject by itself, the parenting. For all of you, I'm not a parent, but I have experience of dealing with children. So at least I will only tell from that perspective, because I'll tell you three aspects that I always personally feel or I've seen in upbringing of the child. Number one, that we generally think that if the child is not practicing Krishna consciousness, does not, which means I will not be able to do anything on them. Krishna consciousness practices, according to us, is about japa, sitting to, coming to a Bhagavatam class, wearing tilak, having shika, doing offering and things like that. Agreed, they are very important and they help. But for some, God forbid reason, for some reason, because of the association, influence, kali, maya, time, karma, whatever, for some reason, if they are not inclined, there are zillion other things that we can help them as a preparation to practice devotional life. In terms of several virtues, basically there are 4 qualities that we discussed about patience. There is, if we learn to inculcate certain basic qualities, which becomes very easy when they chant, which becomes very easy when they honor prasadam, because the reason Krishna consciousness way is easier is because the process itself helps purify certain dirt. But otherwise, if they are not involved in the process, if the society at large and the school they go to, the friend circle they go to, they are not very careful, we should at least somewhere or other, try to see if these qualities, these basic values or basic virtues, if they could be discussed in the family and debated how important, because sometimes the methodology of presenting the knowledge is also important. It's not that things. Sometimes if you present in a slightly different manner, especially I've seen the current generation, they prefer logical reasoning, they prefer proper explanation of why this is to be done, what impact it is on them. It's not that they are stupids, they just wanted to know that if it is really needed, if it's way beyond. So there are a lot more people out there in the world who are very nice, but they are not devotees. So I guess it is up to us to open up in the family and at least have a general debate, general discussion, especially if the children is anywhere between 13 and 15. So it is important to have such open dialogue. What is the kind of friend you like? Chanakya Pandita says, Atmavas sarva bhuteshu ya paschati sha pandita. You treat the other person as you wish yourself to be treated. So we can ask this question, we can role model them. This is number one. Number two, which I have learned in the process is, sometimes we can't train our own children. We need uncle and aunts, chacha, chachi, and different types of relationships. Because you can't preach to your own relatives, you can't preach to your own family because there's a familiarity. So many a times it is cross learning. That is how the previous generation or the Vedic civilization worked. They worked on a larger community where there is a joint family system, or a when we all grew up, I'm sure you all would also acknowledge that we all had neighbors, friends, families who will cross teach us. So sometimes you will teach somebody else's children, your children will be taught by somebody else. In terms of, they can open up to them, because sometimes they may be shy, they're apprehensive, fear. So when they start opening up, when you give them the right amount of the right amount of freedom, actually mean at the right age they are able to express what they want without any fear of them being penalized or punished. So up till the age 5, the child learn by imitation. From 6 to 10, the child can learn from instructions. From 11 to 15, the child will learn based on exploration, and they want to explore things. From 15 and above, the child would like to take decisions based on their own clout, the friends, the circle, and their own experiential or kind of knowledge. This age band may vary, depends upon different society or different demography, but this pattern we can see: imitation, instruction, exploration, experiential. So they will go through this journey, and if at right point in time, right amount of tools. That is why I used to always tell that your problem is not only my problem. It's your problem, my problem, his problem, her problem, everybody's problem. I'm sure your question, every other grahastha in this forum would want to ask or ponder upon, or they may be already pondering upon. That is why we always say that somehow or other can we cross learn, cross help, accept each other as a community and help each other, and make sure that you bring up your son or daughter very nicely, so that we can ask, okay, there is a devotee family in Mumbai. They can, marry this boy can marry, that girl can marry this boy. So we all can, very freely, say that, yes, they are all trained under a, very good Krishna conscious, or at least devotional, or at least dharmic ecosystem. So from that perspective, I personally feel that at an appropriate, so cross learning is second, and the third important point is, according to the age, different period in time, different types of approach needs to be adopted. My father was a teacher, and I respect him till today because he knew how to handle a person according to their age. If you are at 5, you instruct them differently. From 6 to 10, instruct them differently. 11 to 15, instruct them differently. 15 and above, instruct them differently. But all through the while, you behave yourself properly. You can have zillion reasons why you couldn't, but unfortunately, if you have this result expected that I want my child to be the great divine child, so some sort of careful endeavor is needed from the parent side also. I'm sure I may not have fully answered your scenario, but at least these are something that I could think of now. And I personally feel, at least in the current trend, we definitely need well-wishing counselors and seniors with whom we can discuss and structure and architect your child's life. You can definitely give all freedom, but we can at least create a boundary or a fence, or at least a path. Krishna is giving us freedom, but Krishna is also being available to help us, take us to the right path. So as a parent, it is our duty to do this. Am I making some sense, Mataji?
Yes, definitely, Prabhuji. It's definitely helpful. One thing I've also learned in my child, another question is like, just because he knows he's 8 years old right now, just because he knows that I wouldn't like something, right, and he still does it, he and then I find out from someone else that he did something wrong. And, he will tell me that, yeah, he did that, but he didn't tell me because he's afraid that he'll get in trouble from me. So how do I remove this kind of barriers? Like, I don't yell at him, but I do feel upset, right? So he knows that he's making me upset, but as long as I don't find out, he feels that it's okay. So how do I remove that boundary? Like, it's in his mind like this. And I never yelled or did anything crazy. Like, it's just because of my hurt, he can sense it. So
one Mataji in my community asked this similar question maybe a month before. So we were discussing how to facilitate, a right amount of friends circle, correct friends. It's actually a big challenge because we want to get a, right friend circle. We do not know. We cannot, push him that you be friends with him. But at the same time, we need some friends because certain things, certain barriers, certain, challenges we as a parent may not be able to overcome, which a friend can easily overcome. There are things that, I very well remember that when I was growing up, in my grade 7, by Krishna's mercy, Guru and Gauranga's mercy, I took up Krishna consciousness. In my class, we were around 30 people or 25 people, were practicing Krishna consciousness because, we were all, at our young age, just as a friend, even though the parents were not very much Krishna consciously inclined, but just because we were friends, Krishna consciousness, okay, chalo, let's go for kirtan, let's go for, some service, let's go for this, go for that. So as a fun, as a, some sort of a Krishna conscious. So I was thinking that it is important that we need to create a buddy system within ISKCON, but the buddy system is just not, an external Krishna consciousness activities. It is also about internalizing. So a buddy system with a role model around. So role modeling is so important. And because kids from 11 onwards always idealizes somebody in their mind. I want to become like him or her, may not be devotees. They already start to think that I want to become like this, technocrat or this businessman or this movie star or this devotee. So somewhere we need to tail that thought. Hanumat Prashik Maharaj used to always say, our education system should be designed in such a manner that teachers and parents are able to identify which band the child is in based on the child's behavior, thoughts, characteristics, walk, talk, choices. So we will be able to say, okay, this guy is in, certain stage in life. Maybe he's still in Shraddha stage. Maybe he's still in, Bhakti stage, or still in, wherever, lost consciousness or Asuric stage or whatever that is. So our education system should evolve, but till that point in time, at least amongst parents, amongst community members, amongst devotees, the challenge, Mataji, is that we are all so busy running to maintain meet the ends of our lives. So somehow the most important agenda gets sidelined. So that is why, we have so many kind-hearted devotees who are extending their time available to help. So let us try to take such help and maybe try to create. Our parents invested their time and energy upon us. Somehow, when we grew up, the technology and the society were much, much more sober. So now we know the threat of the society now. So some of us need to buckle up and work towards. And others, at least, if they support, if they come together and know that, yes, if I support this cause, it will be helpful. So I'm sure you can look forward for several initiatives of devotees who are trying to help parents, parenting, child development, education. So if you see anyone like that, please go and help him, support him, stand by him, give your experience, give your good, bad, poor, ugly, wonderful experiences, so that eventually, at least one generation later, 2 generations later, we have a larger community of people who are able to be leading Krishna conscious devotional way of living. So I'm definitely sure that, a specific answer I couldn't give, or I may not be able to give, because there may be so many details to a solution. But at least I know that buddy system, role modeling, making sure the different age group, different types of approaches, those are all certain generic answers that we can give in terms of. That is why parenting seminar and parenting discussions are generally for discussing about certain principles. But individual parenting, it is like how you grow your own plant, making sure that the plant doesn't get killed or doesn't get spoiled because of the weeds. So you keep removing the weeds and grow the plant and create a very good orchard. When you create a very good orchard, the neighbor will create one, the other person will create one, the third person will create one, and you will all have a wonderful environment. So that's how I see Krishna conscious parenting agenda.
Yeah, that's awesome, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Okay, any other? Sudhakar?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Gopinath Ki Jai. With your permission, can I add 1 or 2 points, Prabhuji?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You explained so nicely, Prabhuji. When my 2 daughters is very small and we are staying in Mumbai and not allowed to go Shri Radha Gopinath because my Gurudev is American. So we all are going to Shri Radha Rashbihari temple. So Saturday, Ji Madhupuri Mataji came and take the drawing class. Like I bring so many drawing book, so they will color. वो टाइम पे वो था वैक्स कलर, सो दे विल कलर शिशिनंद बाबा एंड शिशि यशोदा मैया. बाय दैट वे दे टीच द, बिकॉज वो गुजराती में बताते हैं कि पारकी माँ कांद विंदे, मतलब हम कभी कभी हमारे बच्चे को नहीं दे सकते कृष्णा कॉन्शियस, बट अदर पर्सन विल गिव अ कृष्णा कॉन्शियस. और मेन थिंग मैंने देखा कि बाकी के सब बच्चों को देख देख के दे विल फॉलो ऑल द इंस्ट्रक्शन, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी आरती एंड ऑल द everything they will follow to see the other Vaishnava. And Prabhuji, up to 10th standard it is very easy, but after that the hormones is changed, so it is difficult to give a Krishna conscious, and we cannot force them. But by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Radha Gopinath mercy, we have to treat with वो बताते हैं कि सिर पे बर्फ रख के ये बच्चों के साथ डील करना पड़ता है, because they don't have a patience, they don't have a because of so much work, and they all are frustrated. But by Krishna's mercy, Prabhuji, they are just watching us what we are doing from morning 4:30 to evening, and they Drashti started to come temple, and Shivani also visit India, and she also started by Krishna's mercy visit all the temples. So all of the story we cannot force our kids, Prabhuji, but we have so much patience. और वो हमेशा हमें watch करते हैं. And by Krishna's mercy, one day they will come Krishna conscious. Don't worry about that. Our kids are not coming in Krishna conscious. The association of Vaishnava is very important. Before the COVID time, we are going to morning 5:30 in a temple, and all the Aji Ghanshyam Prabhu and Aji Setyasar Prabhu 5:10 minutes they preach, and by coming in a temple, Prabhuji, and in the childhood up to 10th standard, they are coming yatra and all the attending all the programs in the temple and Govinda class in our home. So the base is so strong. Even our parents, our nana nani are following Shishi Laddu Gopal, Shishi Vallabhacharya Pant. So घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है. बेस तो बच्चों के अंदर होता ही है. और after some times it's come, now they are wearing tulsi mala, doing 7-8 round again. So we need so much patience to deal with our kids. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. By mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our Acharya Gan, they sure come in Krishna conscious by the association of Vaishnava, and they sure become a sincere devotee. That much I learned from my 2 kids. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Gopinath Ki Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. कुछ भूल हुई है तो माफ कर दा. दंडवत प्रणाम.
Hare Krishna. Very nice, always.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, do you have time?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So actually I joined a bit late, but I could understand the topic, what you were talking, and I just thought to add one thing, what I learned from Mother Prabhu is the girl child, particularly. I would say I learned from Mother Prabhu, the girl child or the woman is or a woman devotee, or if she becomes a devotee, it's more what they call advantage, or you can say the better for the society, in the sense that the woman, if she becomes a Krishna conscious devotee, or the girl becomes a Krishna conscious devotee, she actually elevates two families. One, the what you call their parents, the born parents. Second, after marriage, when she goes to her in-laws, their family also will be getting elevated. This is what I learned. I think, as you rightly mentioned, the importance of the Krishna conscious is everybody should have. But I thought to share this thought that I learned from some other thing. So girl child is always that's why we people, at least our Indian culture, they have special what do you call attachment to the girl child rather than to the. I'm not saying that the boy child they will not have the attention, but the girl child has a significant role in the house, society, community, because the woman, she becomes a mother after some time. When the mother becomes a Krishna conscious devotee, naturally the child or the when the during her conceiving stage itself, the child can grow that kind of divine qualities. This is what I learned. I thought to share. Thank you very much. I'm not an expert or talking about other aspects of the parenting. I know even I cannot I'm not a good parent, I can say. So I leave it to the my children. As one of the Prabhu said, you need not control your children after teenage. If you have to give education, so let them lead their life. Only our job is to educate them, what is good, what is bad, because they came to my life as some sort of Ronaband. They are not related to me eternally. So this is what I was told, and I also don't keep too much expectations, nor too much attachment to them. This is what I'm thinking it. So rather than to have this kind of feeling, oh, my son, my daughter, my father, it's okay. We came to this life and we live this life, and this is what I thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? Yes,
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam. Dhanvat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is, you were giving so many practical tips and you were giving practical insight about the children, handling them and giving Krishna consciousness. So my question is there any book or any teachings or any playlist you have or any books you suggest? Because I am not a parent, but I have few kids and trying to help them. So in that reference, I needed the support. So could you please share?
There are so many resources, Krishna conscious resources. Gopi Gita Mataji has recently released a book on leadership parenting. Then there are so many guides and guides from Arudha Mataji. She has released a book on not a book, I think she has got so many interviews on how she handles children. There are if you look for resources, there are plenty. Depends upon what you're exactly looking for. Even Srimad Bhagavatam has got so many wonderful guidances. And there are experienced Grahasthas are the best book. As I said, parenting is a very qualitative subject matter, and it varies from family to family, situation to situation, demographic, culture to culture. We cannot pinpoint and put our foot down saying that this is the only correct way to do parenting, or this is the only way. So we can always talk about only boundaries and also principles, and different people will have different focus or insistence on how this is to be done. But one thing for sure, we need to understand is Saguru Sapita Chapi Samata Bandavopi Sa Sikshaye Chet Sada Smartum Harer Namaiva Kevalam. When we are friend, father, brother, relative, teacher, It is our duty to definitely not just let them grow like thorny bushes. It is our duty to somehow or other participate, try our limit, not to push, but to present Krishna consciousness in a very palatable, relatable, relevant manner. Every individual is having some sort of a melting point in their heart. Our heart is stone because of continuously existently associated with materialistic nature, but there is a melting point for everyone. So try to find that out, present Krishna consciousness, present values, present things in a manner by which he or she can relate. That's an art. That art will come when you assume or when you accept the role of a missionary, knowing that I am supposed to play the role of a mother and father, because Guru is mother and father, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked us all to become gurus. So when we have to play the role of a mother and father, it is important that we all try to play that role by empathizing their needs, trying to observe them, because we need not hurry and jump to teach or train anyone. First observe them. What are their needs? What are their way of learning? What do they like? What do they not like? What karma they have carried? What background? What parentage? Where they are coming from? Why they are behaving in this manner? If you properly analyze, empathize and understand them, then we will be able to help them in a much easier manner. So as I said, I have given an entire series of discussions on Varnashrama, and especially on Stri Dharma also. We had a long discussions on this. So maybe I can share that playlist if you want to. I hope this helps.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Eternally grateful to you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, dear devotees. If there are no other questions, we can end the call here. Thank you again, Prabhu, for accepting our invitation and being able to come on the call. And thanks for the wonderful class. We'll end the call here. Vancha kalpatarubheshcha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, भागवत की जय, हिज ग्रेस रामगिरधारी प्रभु की जय.
Hare Krishna, Dhanava Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. We'll be ending the call.